When you enter Senpou Temple grounds for the first time, you are warned. The monks here have turned away from Buddha. Today, I will tell you a story of how the Senpou Temple went down its path of infestation and who keeps it in check. The monks of Ashina always sought enlightenment. In fact, their ways are inspired by Shugendo, a version of Buddhism practiced by mountain-dwelling monks. It was most common in the three mountains of Dewa region in Japan. Mount Haguro is famous for its 5-story pagoda, which we can find right here in Senpou. Mount Gasan houses a shrine. Perhaps the Gunfort Shrine is a reference to it, despite being seemingly not monk-built. Mount Yudono has a famous torii gate, and a similar gate serves as the entrance to Ashina depth. Mount Kongo, where Senpou Temple sits, is a real-world place as well, but I cannot find any other references beyond the name. Nearly every monk is contained within Senpou Temple. Once, they used to roam the lands freely. You can find the sugars they made all across Ashina. Some of the things they left behind tell us about their other curious practices. In fact, the monks of Senpou sought immortality even before their infestation with centipedes began. Immortality of sorts. Let me tell you about the real-life practice they followed, which resulted in these. In medieval Japan, the practitioners of Shugendo developed a process called Sokushinbutsu, which took 3,000 days to 10 years to complete. It was a form of attaining enlightenment by mummifying oneself alive. Monks would follow a strict, plant-based diet to eliminate all fat in the body while reducing food and liquid intake. They would eventually die in a state of meditation, and their body would be naturally preserved as a mummy, with skin and teeth intact. It would not decay, even without the use of any artificial preservatives. You can find the link to an article below the video. This practice has been followed by Senpou monks for a long time. If you enter the temple in the hidden forest, while it is inhabited by the Mist Noble, you can see the illusion of mummified monks sitting in meditating poses on the floor. There are similar mummies in Senpou Temple, sitting on piles of centipedes, yet seemingly not infested. There is one more pure Sokushinbutsu I could find. When you kill the giant serpent and get over to the other side of the broken bridge, head a little bit inwards. So, based on sugars, this mummy, and the Hidden Forest Temple, it seems like monks of Senpou Temple weren't always confined to its walls. What could have happened? Well, they messed with the wrong man's people. There is a peculiar trait shared by all monks in Senpou. They can be killed by using divine abduction on them. The large fan, which is necessary to create this prosthetic tool, unravels several interesting facts. Divine abduction through an 8-handed fan. Once is fine, but twice and you will never return. If abducted, we will head to Mount Kongo. At Senpou Temple, we will perform virtuous deeds. A couple times in my videos, I mentioned that all monks should have gone through a certain ritual where the large fan is used, and that is the reason you can kill them by abducting. Well, I can finally tell you what that ritual is about. First, listen to what Eyes of Ashina has to say about the monks.
Who knows what those degenerates are doing shut away up there in the mountains?
He doesn't sound too excited about them. We know that Eyes of Ashina is Tengu of Ashina, this long-nosed swordsman. For those who missed this, he gives you the name Sekiro when you meet him as Tengu.
That's it. A one-armed wolf. I like it. Which means Sekiro. That is what I shall name you.
He then calls you Sekiro when you meet him as Isshin.
Don't you think, Sekiro,
There's also this letter he leaves for Emma. The Ashina castle gate has grown loud with the sound of scurrying. The Tengu will see to the rats, worry not. There is even more evidence than that, but I believe this should be enough for the purpose of this video. Tengu are supernatural creatures found in Japanese mythology. They are guardians of mountain regions, highly skilled in martial arts. Tengu are well-known mischief makers, known to play tricks on arrogant monks and priests, and they are known for abducting said monks and priests. In 16th century, Tengu are often depicted having red faces, long noses, and a feathered fan capable of stirring up great winds. I think we're getting a pretty clear picture here. Unlike Isshin claims, he knows very well
What those degenerates are doing shut away up there in the mountains.
he is the Tengu of Ashina, and the large fan, which has been used on all monks in Senpou, belongs to him. While it is hard to say if he knew about the giant centipedes, he was well aware that the monks kidnapped pregnant women for their Children of the Rejuvenating Waters experiments. And so, it was Isshin himself who took the fan and abducted every monk for straying from their path and falling into corruption. And the monks knew that if they ever dared leave Senpou, Isshin would find them and they would be gone forever. In fact, they're keeping a close eye on him. The rats you kill for Tengu's quest are checking up on Isshin's health to later report to Senpou on the state of affairs. After Isshin is gone, the corruption of Senpou will slowly crawl into Ashina, no longer kept in check by the fearsome Tengu. But what is that corruption? What are the giant centipedes? Where did they come from? And what does this have to do with the Children of the Rejuvenating Waters? This gets a little bit complicated, but I have a pretty good theory for you. In Senpou Temple, we have 4 types of Sokushinbutsu mummies. The ones that are non-infested and immobile, the mobile infested ones which do not show the giant centipede, the mobile infested ones that do show the centipedes, and the immobile infested ones. The non-infested ones are here probably since the time before the infestation happened. The infested ones that do not seem to have a giant centipede actually don't have it at all. If you take a look at their feet and the feet of the ones that do have the centipede, you will actually see a difference. The infested ones with a centipede are the most interesting ones. When they do a grab attack, their eyes glow red and they vomit a bunch of small centipedes into your face, trying to spread the infestation. I discovered this when finishing my video on Red Eyes of Ashina, and it seems like there might be a connection between the waters of rejuvenation and the giant centipedes. The infested and immobile ones seem dead. Not even a single small centipede on their body moves. Let's try to understand how this all came to be. As I already mentioned, before the infestation happened, the monk mummies were created through extreme diet and meditation. That is what we see in this temple and in the mountains right here. Everything else is a lot more interesting. So let's have another look. The mummy on the right has the centipede, while the mummy on the left does not. You can actually see the centipede coiling right at their feet. Another subtle difference is that this one is moving. The easiest assumption is that these are 2 different stages of the infestation, but this is likely not true. First, there's this mummy early in Senpou, which has no centipede and is immobile. It doesn't move at all. Second, the High Priest of Senpou does not have the centipede at any point, and he leaves to the cave to essentially die without ever developing one. Look, there is nothing at all at his feet. And yet, all of them have a bunch of tiny centipedes crawling all over them. Except for those in the cave. Those are completely dead. It simply seems like some monks are able to develop the giant centipede and thus become immortal, while others are not. The key to that could be the rejuvenating waters, because only the monks having the centipede can do the red eyes grab attack I mentioned earlier. The red eyes are associated with the waters. Once again, I will quote the Ministry dowsing powder text. The Ministry feared Ashina, her eyes bloodshot with the waters of rejuvenation. What exactly determines whether the centipede develops or not, I cannot say. I would assume that the monks don't completely understand the process themselves, since even the high priest ended up dead in a cave along with all these guys. So, looking at this beautiful scene, we can understand how the infestation spreads between monks, probably voluntarily. But where could the centipedes come from? What are their origins? Well, they are inspired by a centipede which is found throughout Eastern Asia, often referred to as mukade. They are a common sight in the Japanese fauna. There is also a yokai or mukade, which is essentially a gigantic version of a mukade. Interestingly, there is a legend about a brave warrior who was asked by a daughter of the Dragon King to slay an omukade. The warrior succeeded, and for that, she gave him several gifts, including a bag of rice which never runs out.
Please, hold out your hand.
What?
Bless us with bountiful harvest.
There is minimal evidence to support the following part, but you might find it interesting. There is a chance that it was Dogen who suggested to use the centipedes to reduce the negative effects of the waters of rejuvenation, which are fear of flame and mental degradation. We know for sure that he did research the rejuvenating sediment, which explains how he would have learned of the water's effects. I believe, after understanding those, his next question as a scientist would be, how do I remove the negative effects while maintaining the positive ones? He probably got the idea after witnessing the state of the guardian ape. While we do not see the centipede until the ape's head is off, this is the only carrier of the centipede in the Sunken Valley. And considering that the centipede people inhabit a shrine in Sunken Valley, I believe they had to be aware of the ape's condition. Hanbei could have taken part in Dogen's experiments and gotten his centipede that way, but to be honest, we will soon learn more about that from the upcoming manga about him. Perhaps it will prove my whole centipede theory wrong, but we will see. The corrupted monk though, she is a mystery. She likely comes from the Mizzen Temple, just like the shinobi hunter monks. Her headpiece seems similar to theirs, and she wields a spear just like them, even though her technique looks more okami-like. Perhaps the Mizzen Temple is as infected as Senpou. After all, I do not think we encounter any shinobi hunters outside of the Hirata memory. So yes, perhaps Dogen decided to use the waters of rejuvenation alongside the centipedes to reduce the negative effects of the waters. But there could be more to Dogen. His research of the rejuvenating waters and the fact that he most likely witnessed Takeru's immortality puts him into a perfect position to be the one performing the Children of the Rejuvenating Waters experiments. There aren't many other candidates for that besides Dogen, who was his mere apprentice. I wonder if Emma would have known about those experiments. That would also explain Dogen's absence. What do you think Eyes of Ashina would do after learning that a friend he shared so many drinks with is following this dark path, threatening his people and humanity itself?
Hesitation is defeat.
Thanks for watching, friends. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and get ready for the next lore theory.